Hello everyone, it's 2024 and it is Weekender time for the first time this year. A big year, if data from Star Trek is to be believed. We have a jam-packed show for you, but in fitting keeping with both Star Trek and Dungeonalia, we have a prize. From Gale Force 9, we have one of their Tenfold Dungeon Daedalus stations for one lucky subscriber on our YouTube channel. If you want to be in with a chance to win, then you need to pop a comment below, and if you can do the social media thing as well, that's nice. It doesn't cost you anything. Go ahead, ding the dong, spread it around. Otherwise, sit back and relax, because your weekend starts here. Happy New Year!
We're back!
Who would have thunk it? Big year for Ireland. Big year. all my Star Trek fans know what's going on. And if you're not, I suggest you go back and rewatch all of Star Trek to find out what I'm talking about. But we are here to see what's going to be happening. See whether or not Data was right. It'll be amusing.
I do have one question for this year. Where's my hoverboard? Marty McFly lied to me.
He lied to you a few years ago, though.
Yeah.
Is it not 2024 that he traveled forward to, or am I wrong?
No, it was always 15 years off. Or 30 or 35 years off. Yeah, 35
the development
years off.
from this point should have got round to doing it, though, surely.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But they had hoverboards, weren't those terrible wheeled things that would sit in your house and then set your house on fire?
Well, no, because you also had like the electromagnetic ones where you had to be in like a steel skate park.
Yeah, that's fine.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Too much hassle.
The future, not all it's cracked up to be, huh?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't worry. We're not going to be doing anything particularly futuristic or clever this year. It's been more the same.
Let's go.
You've got this status quo.
You've got this far, then you're going to keep on trucking with us. Speaking of keeping on trucking, we are into the second month of Dungeonalia.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, obviously, December, probably not a great month to launch things when people have got other stuff going on. We did it anyway. You can't stop us. We have, however, 2 months left on the Dungeonalia front, where you can alia all your dungeons.
Yes.
There is a whole host of prizes and categories available. And don't worry, you don't have to pick what category you're entering. We'll just work that out ourselves when we come to
except for the youngling.
Well, yeah, that one does need to be tagged.
Yeah, mark your younglings.
Mark the otter pups as they come. Eyes to the front. Mark your targets.
Like sheep with a can of spray paint.
Yes, like that. So, yeah, go ahead, fill your boots, do whatever dungeony type adventures you want to. Fantasy, sci-fi, cyberpunk, World War II. You could do some sort of Great Escape.
Trench fighting? Yeah.
Trench fighting for World War One. Yeah. I was thinking Great Escape, like 0200 hours or San Desert.
That would be good.
You could go a little bit Band of Brothers. Drop them into a random like village where they have to go into the undercrofts.
Yeah. There's absolutely no restrictions on what genre or how you choose to present it in whatever scale. You just do your do, and then at the end of Dungeonalia, we'll have a look through and pick out ones that we think best attribute themselves to heroes, masters, architects, and constructs, whatever else it happens to be in there.
There are a lot of prizes.
There are a lot of prizes. You can already see some people. Apparently, I'm Necrothral, which I didn't realize I was him. Which is interesting.
It's a younger,
respect.
better looking Jerry.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Well, had to happen. Worlds collide and all that. But yeah, you can get in there, do the do, and see what other people are up to. You can just check the project system under the Dungeonalia tag, and then go in there and see what people are up to. Obviously, with a lot of dungeony type things appearing, there's a lot to be talking about. So, yes.
I would recommend that if you are building a project, you do a nice little cover photo, because it makes it lovely when I go through. And
yes.
I'm like, ooh.
Catch the eye.
Yeah.
Unlike this.
If you want to catch the eye's attention, put a squirrel on top.
Yeah.
Well, just leave it as private if you want to catch my attention, because I'll go and have a look. But if you don't do that, if you decide to go in there, I mean, I know Castle Fear is Silver Bayonet, but other people may not, so they may not go and have a nosy at your stuff. But there's plenty to be having a look at. Ooh, somebody's doing a Salute Dungeon Arena. That'll be interesting. We'll see that Salute, I'm assuming. Right.
You would hope.
Yeah. So enough of Dungeonalia. There is also Full Spectrum Dominance. The second wave is still ripping away quite merrily. And we had Jack with us last year talking about it.
It's weird to say last year again.
Yeah, it is. Don't worry. We'll keep writing 2023 on the top of checks and stuff for a long time to come.
Oh, that 3 to 4 scribble wiggle that people are going to have to do now.
But it is one of the My Mini Factory campaigns, so it's not like a Kickstarter or GameFound where you wait until the end of the campaign and get your toys.
It's all done. So
you as soon as you back it, you get access to all and sundry in there. So that's always good if you want to pick up yourself some 6mm sci-fi madness.
There will be a link down below in the description to the interview that we had with Jack about this last year as well. So you can go and check out that Weekender clip, see what you think of it, and dive in and have some fun.
We talk about when we do this on camera, I'm going Union, just saying it now.
Oh yeah, they're great. They're very nice.
Well,
I love the conglomerate stuff though. Oh,
I've got round up by handing across files to John and going, John, print these out and paint them so that we can play some games. So I have no idea what John's done.
He has done John-like things.
Yeah. I'm sure he's been having a lot of fun. I know I sent a picture of it to Jack, and Jack went, "What scenario are you playing?" So I think he's planning on writing a scenario specifically for us based on whatever madness John has put together. And John did it based on, I like these, so I'm going to print out these.
Is that the little epic skill guys?
Yep. Yeah. The little teeny tiny 6mm stuff. Think of them as like BattleTech adjacent for yourself, then Shay, which is always good.
Yeah.
I don't know how to print that.
Show the thingy things, the stuffy stuff.
Shiny.
Not just your arm, Shay. Not just your arm.
No.
Which is very shiny, though, to be fair. So that's good.
And there's the other factions up there as well, but I'll keep them there.
Sweet. Right. Well, that's what's coming up in our future. But right now, we have to get on to the most important part of the show. The only reason I bother doing this. True, it is.
The highlight of Jerry's week.
Yeah. I don't care about anything else after this bit. And it's the first part of the year as well. So it's, this is a gem. This is an absolute gem.
Number one slot must be the best.
I like to think so. And it's our indie of the week. And this week, it's Clearco Miniatures.
Ooh.
Now, Clearco is
not a wholesaler of random cleaning goods. No.
Do they just do clear bases and nothing else?
No.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because I want to be able to see my squares. Clearco is like a proper indie. I know we do a lot of proper indies because it is my want in life. Clearco is a one-man operation with Juan Aclera. Aguilera? I don't know. Christina? I can't speak Spanish, so that's probably not going to go down well. But he is a one-man operation, and I will preface this with he currently is not resident in his home country. So when you order stuff from him, email him. He will then tell you the next window when he's going to be casting and shipping stuff out. So, and I know some people go, "Oh, I want this stuff immediately," and if they put an order in, then they're on the internet whining that they haven't got it 24 hours later because people are terrible like that. This, if you like the models, be prepared to wait for them. However, they're worth waiting for, is what I'm going to say. Nice. I'll also throw in there, he does say that Badger Games in the US stock them. Currently they don't, because he's not able to keep them fulfilled because of the way he's having to work. So with those caveats in there, people may have heard me mention I'm after Plains Wars Indians last year, and I was going, I can't find nice ones.
Jerry went hunting.
Jesus, Juan does some beautiful Plains Wars Indians. These
Jerry sent up the indie signal.
I put up a smoke signal, and they all came back to me, which was just absolutely delightful. So these are Crow Warriors. These are work in progress. So he works off a blog spot, so you can see what he's working on, and then he has a separate page on the catalog, which will be listed below, where you can actually see what's available already. But these are Crow mounted warriors, and they're absolutely beautiful. I mean, for people looking to do Legends of the Old West Plains Wars, like I am, or Dead Man's Hand, Fistful of Lead, looking forward to playing that soon. These are just absolutely stonking.
Yeah.
Native Americans, part of the 500 nation sort of tribes.
Now, how many tribes does he do? Just the Crow or others?
No. Currently there's, I think there's 3. There's Pawnee, Crow, and somebody else. But then there's also generic Plains Indians. So the warrior societies, the chieftain, the more unusual types are there. And then there's just generic warriors if you need just generic warriors. And as you can see, for a man who's sort of doing his own do on his Todd, there's some beautiful stuff in here.
I love the attention to detail.
The Cheyenne look really good.
Yeah, the whole thing started off, I think, via the medium of Lead Adventure years ago.
Okay.
If I go to the actual product catalog bit, so there's his low maintenance warning. Email him. His email is up here with orders and questions. And then you can pay via PayPal, which is great because PayPal protects you when you're ordering stuff. Everybody knows that. So, like I say, you've got plenty of protection in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to do I want to go? No, I won't. We'll get there. We'll get there in the end. He did some stuff for some people and cast them in resin himself way back in like 2013. And then subsequent to that, he put a call out for somebody who could cast the stuff in metal for him. And then this is the result. So as you can see here, we have some of the Crow Warriors, which come with a variety of weapons, including, muskets or rifles or hand weapons and bows. And because the figures themselves have got this really nice attention to detail to them, there's some absolute gems in here, especially when we hit the Pawnee, or one of my favorite, just from aesthetic point of view.
Yeah.
But any of the Plains Indians are really nice.
I do love the idea that he's going into enough detail to actually be able to subdivide the tribes instead of just doing plain generic Native American, which some companies do and do very well, and that's fine. But getting that extra level of like detail into it, I like.
And you get to see some really terrific work, like the Crow leader here with the headdress and the very feathered shield. And it has all those layers of sort of fine beadwork and embroidery on the animal skins and like that you would see in films and TV shows of my youth, which is really nice to see.
It's a good way of showing the respect for the
various nation tribes. Yeah,
the nations. Yeah, the tribes. Yeah.
These are the Pawnee. I mean, right off the bat, that. Which is like a gun stock club. That Pawnee had war clubs. Remember that bit in Last of the Mohicans where you had the guy who was like half red, half black?
Yeah.
The mohawk. Very similar aesthetic to that. Where, as far as even though the Pawnee are sort of Central America, Central North America, not Central America, which is. Jesus. Rename your
stupid America.
But yeah, so these have a very distinct look, and I think in the remake of the Magnificent Seven, there might be there's a Native American on both sides. There's one joins the Magnificent Seven, and then he's hunting the evil killer who'd done up his family, and I think he was Pawnee anyway. But yeah, the really intricate these gun stock weapons. I mean, if you get those, you can do a lot of additional bits and pieces with them because they were just wooden clubs, and then they had additional sort of metal spikes added to them. But they did really intricate pierce work and stuff on them, where they would like carve out holes and sections and stuff and do. So you could go to town on both the painting and the actual display of it itself.
I think I remember seeing one of those on Forged in Fire. So Modern Smith had to make those. Well,
Right.
two Modern Smiths had to make those.
Yeah.
And then they bashed them into stuff to see if they would break.
Yeah.
Good time in the can.
Yeah.
So as you can see,
that reminds me of Deadliest Warrior. What a good show.
Oh God, that's a callback.
was that the one where they had the IRA against the Taliban?
Something
I
like
think
that.
actually,
yeah.
I think
Yes, it is.
Right, okay.
They were like, let's see whether Knight could beat a samurai.
yeah, that is them. Yeah. Anyway, so the Pawnee, as you see there's a couple of standard warrior packs. There's elite warrior packs, and then there's
more of the detail on one of those weapons as well.
Yeah. So you can tell the better grade, and depending on the system you're playing, it may or may not be something that actually comes into play. But just having the alternative versions in there, and then like I say, you can do your own version as well. That massive feathered headdress for the war chief is just stunning, and this is the sort of model and detail that I was looking for that I just wasn't finding with some of the other companies who are doing Plains Indians.
Well, there's just a little bit too generic in that respect. Where they,
I wouldn't. They weren't going into the level of detail that Juan has. So it wasn't so cut and dried as to these are.
I see.
I mean, you do get some like Apaches and the like that are a bit more nailed on from other companies, but this is just terrific. These are like some Wolf Scouts. These are sort of generic type. And for somebody who used to play Ratskins in Necromunda when it used to be a good game, these are really amusing to me.
But it used to be a game.
So the idea that you can just have your generic Wolf Scouts, I don't know how prevalent they were within the native community,
but they look awesome.
They do look absolutely awesome. Then we have just the generic Plains Wars type as well. So these could sort of fill the ranks for any of the tribes, and then you just go a bit nuts with it yourself.
Play around with the painting in order to match them to whichever.
Exactly. Add war paint like if you need to, or if required, I suppose, because obviously not always needed there. Also, the weaponry is interesting because there's a nice mix of modern, and by modern I mean for the period, revolvers, repeaters, rifles, that sort of
traditional
thing.
And acquired,
alongside the traditional, which means it means you've got that. You could do the various periods. Some of these would work for earlier periods of warfare, so not just the Wild West / Old West type of thing, but you could have them push them back into the 1700s, and maybe do some of the stuff like Blood and Plunder
and stuff like that,
Flint and Feather, and have it going that way. I really like just that.
Is it just Native American stuff, or is there more to the range?
Mostly Native American, which is why I'm here. There's a few other bits, like I say, he didn't start with Native American way back, but we'll hit those towards the end.
Okay.
There is this as well, which caught me unawares. Yes, he is wearing chainmail.
Yeah.
Really?
And then I went and had a wee.
I am confuzzled.
Yeah, I went and had a wee look, and chainmail has been found in some Native American sites because obviously it's been in country since 1400s, 1500s when
Lee Vikings.
No, the Spanish conquistadors came in, and so obviously some of it got taken and then was handed down. I'm sort of, the metalworking isn't there, but they would just take care of what they had laid their hands on. So I think there's a Kansas Historical Society has some chainmail that they reckon come from Spanish horse armor really in like the 15th century. So like I say, caught me completely unawares. I'm going, oh, that's different, but I appreciate it. Some of the Cheyenne.
I really like the dynamic poses toward the models as well. Like they're all in proper fighting poses. For the most
beautiful for doing skirmish games, raids, that sort of thing. You've got your small bands of warriors, clashing against each other. I'm sure the likes of Primal, the New Zealand-based tribal, I suppose.
Yeah.
Maybe a better fit. Actually having clashes of the actual tribes themselves. Ignore European settlers altogether. They can write off. And instead focus on the clashes that would happen between various tribes on the edges of their sort of ancestral lands. That could be interesting. And just have Native American against Native American. The Cheyenne War Chief there is just cracking.
Very good.
It's what I want to see. And I know this is really weird. Because there are other companies who've gone like, here's a warband of Apache, here's a warband of Plains Indians, and then you look at them and you're going, yeah, but they look. Where's
just
this?
want that little extra something in there.
I just want
drilling down into each tribe.
I want more beads, more feathers, more detail on the animal skins and on the clothing, and just more. I just want more.
I think something that's, it seems like a small thing. Probably a big thing as well at the same time. I like that the facial details are appropriate as well. It's not just like generic
dolly. Yeah,
it actually looks like a Native American or First Nations individual on the model, which I think is kind of important, because it's one of those things where you look at it, you're like, oh, that just looks like a random dude dressed up in like a 60s 70s movie or something, whereas this actually looks like the peoples that you're trying to represent on the table, which I think is good.
Another thing is nice is he does the weapon packs. So if you want to pick a period, if you don't want to have the 1800s, you don't want to have all modern weapons, you want to do that. Early clashes of Native Americans against European settlers or internecine tribal warfare, then you can pick up. So you just go, right, well, he has a gun. He doesn't anymore. He now has a club or a bow, whatever it happens to be. You can see some of his lances. So,
what was with the wiggly spears that we saw with some of them? Is that a ceremonial thing, maybe, or is that like?
Well, we might see some of the wiggly spears in a minute, but these are sort of like warrior lances,
right?
Like almost like a sort of a knight's heraldry type of thing, So a warrior would have their own specific lance then for challenges or
I see.
That type of thing. I'm not sure where. I'm going to have a quick look and see if I can see wiggly lances. For the Cheyenne.
Yeah. I wondered if it was just sort of like a ceremonial thing.
I think it may be more of the same as far as the sort of tribal heraldry.
They're not native.
No. Like I say, there are a few others. So there's a set of Neanderthals. Again, handy if people want to play Primal.
Savage Core as well,
yeah. So that's a bit different. Some additional cast spears and clubs, including a big thigh bone.
Yeah.
You two can batter people to within an inch of their life. And the original stuff was zombies. So zombies and a few survivors as well, which is where Juan's initial sort of sculpts came from. He originally did them for somebody specifically, and then they were cast in resin for them, and then
very cool.
Sort of it developed from that point. Female survivors.
It's very good if you're delving into that game that's coming back this year from Mantic called The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
If you want to make your own survivors.
Yeah.
I am severely tempted to buy in this time, because it's one that I feel I missed out on, and I don't want to miss out again.
Same thing here. Yeah.
I like this one. This is one of my favorite, simply because of these three. So there's like a canopic jar.
Yeah.
But then there's also
that's a little fertility idol.
Fertility idol from Germany. Yep.
Yes.
Not sure what the one on the end is. It has a bit of an Easter Island look to it, but it has a full body, so probably not.
Definitely something
I know they had
that
full
unleashed
bodies,
some kind of strange curse on somebody.
When the world ends, go to your favorite knick-knack shop and get your bits.
Yeah. And you two can get in there punching people up. I
Very
think
nice.
That's the end of us.
Very cool.
But
very cool.
Very good.
A terrific range of stuff. Juan's on the face bake as well. so you can keep an eye on what he's doing there, or just have a nosy around his blog. You can see what he's been working on. Yeah, definitely.
I'm very curious to see the New Year, New Jerry with these painted.
Yeah, just as soon as the U-boat's done, I'll be straight in there like a whippet, like a rat up a drain pipe. I'll be bam. Done. I've got to contact him and see when the next shipping date is. To be fair, it could be soon. It might be a few months off, but there's plenty of time. It's not like I've got nothing left to paint. But yeah, if you're interested in checking out some Plains Wars Indians, the 500 Nations, have a look at Clearco. You'll be very impressed. Right, let's have some news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
All right, it's time for some news. First news of the new year. New year, new news. New news, even in the word new. So this must be something exciting and new that we haven't seen before. How new is it, Ben?
It's very, very old.
That old is new again. You ruined it.
Yeah. So the first wave and pretty much everything else from the first sort of set of launch items has been revealed for Warhammer the Old World. This was a fairly big surprise because I think a lot of people were thinking this might be coming sort of February time. It looks like it's going to all be sort of arriving towards the end of January, with pre-orders coming up this weekend. This weekend, tomorrow. Oh my God. So yeah,
we hope tomorrow.
At store.tabletop, whatever.
So yes, this is all going to be sort of kicking off with 2 new army boxes, 2 box sets that will contain the launch armies. For
Kislev against Cathay. Can't wait.
Exactly. Yes, yeah.
That's what they were touting 3 years ago, showing concept sketches and everything.
Oh, Jerry, you feel so bad. Dry undead.
Yeah.
They're
Look at those,
Dusty
Jerry.
and musty.
Look at them.
That's where my cough has come from. All the dust.
Beautiful.
Too much tomb dust.
Well, no, because it's just old shelf dust.
Yeah. So yes, this is 2 box sets for the Kingdom of Bretonnia and the Tomb Kings of Khemri. On the Bretonnian side, you're going to get yourself a whole host of old models and new ones at the same time. So you get the sort of the knight on the back of the Royal Pegasus. You can see it at the front there. And then a whole host of the older models. So you get your men-at-arms, you get your archers, you get your Knights of the Realm in their lance formation, which still exists. And then your knights on the back of their Pegasus as well. So a pretty nice little box set there. On the other side of things as well, for the Tomb Kings, you get the new sort of Lich Priest on the back of that Nekaharan dragon, alongside the Tomb King that can be used as an alternative leader model if you wanted to. Obviously, you can just have him on foot, as you can see there. You then get all of your skeleton warriors with their spears. That's going to be a reference no one will get, but never mind.
Oh, no, I loved it.
Yeah.
You go, girl.
The archers at the back, as you can see, 2 hefty units of cavalry, some with bows, some with spears. And then you get your chariots at the back on the right-hand side, as you can see there as well. Both of these starter sets, I say, come with actual definitively pointed armies. They are 1,250 odd points, and they come with the rules for you to play the game, and you also get the big rulebook in that set as well. So they're a great starting point if maybe you and a friend want to pick up a box each and start playing some games. You can have a box full of models with some new and old.
That must be incredibly expensive.
I reckon so.
Because I took my Tomb King book down and pointed the rest up. And even with full commands, the chariots, the archers, and everything else in there. Also, those are 16-man units, not 20-man like the front, which is really weird.
Yeah,
it came out to like 900 points, which means then you're absolutely chucking 700 points worth of character at the front there.
Pretty much.
So, and even if
are we back to Hero Hammer?
Well, they've never gone away. But even if he's a full-on Tomb King, then he's like 170 on foot, which means he must be about 500 points by himself.
Big boy dragon.
But will he do 500 points of work?
Well, I hope so.
How it all works out, I guess,
because the dragon was roughly 210 in the old list. Not that they had a bone dragon, but they had equivalents. Anyway, yeah, fascinating. It's just the miniatures for that one, though. There's nothing army list wise. They don't give you like starter lists or anything with it.
Well, the contents of the box are listed as the 2 armies, and then you get the core rulebook in there.
Right.
I don't know whether or not they're going to put in like a sheet or something to be like, here are the rules for playing your army, or if they expect you to buy the other books that are coming out alongside these.
I'd heard there was something booky in it, but I couldn't find what it was.
Yeah, so it's the core rulebook that you get inside that.
It is interesting that they've actually pointed up the armies to be roughly even. I would be very surprised if they wouldn't give you the list that are roughly even, because the miniatures are pointed to be roughly even.
Yeah, so the second set of feature images they showed for this that kind of came out this week showed off the contents, and you get like a sheet that's in there, like a reference sheet. I would assume maybe there'll be some sort of reference material on the back there, perhaps. We'll see. But anyway, in addition to the 2 big box sets, the thing that I imagine most people are going to be picking up, especially if you were a fan of the Warhammer Fantasy Battles back in the day, whichever edition you wanted, there's going to be the rulebook that's going to be dropping. So this is a big tome, as you can see there, big blue, looking lovely, filled with everything you need. It's going to have all of your core rules in there alongside all the advanced rules, although I always thought that was really weird because everyone just used all the rules anyway. Were you not going to use special rules and magic in your games? I don't know, but everything's going to be slotted into that book for you to pick up, alongside lots of galleries and everything else there as well, and special rules and everything, including rules for army building and scenarios and everything else you could want inside of a core rulebook from Games Workshop.
Now, I'm going to throw a bit of science at you here.
Go, girl.
Uh-oh.
So, the Doppler effect, things that are very slow moving are blue, and then when it red shifts, it's like compressed and fast. So in the past, everything was red, and they've decided to go with blue because they've just hit the brakes on the old world and slowed everything down and extended it.
Well, I watched the battle report for this that came onto Warhammer Plus this week.
Oh, did
it? It actually seems very similar to like 7th, 8th, but with a few extra things thrown in there that are very historical wargamery. So the way that units retreat and all that kind of thing, we talked about that on previous shows and stuff, but it does seem like fun, especially for someone who played like 7th, 8th myself. But yeah, we'll have to see how it goes when more people get their hands on it, because obviously the Games Workshop version of this is sped up and cut down to an hour.
Did they, on that note then, did they do many unit reforms? Because I've seen a lot of people talking about the fact that unit reforms obviously was a thing in Warhammer. You'd use it sparingly, unless it was something like skirmishers. But the fact that you get extra maneuvering out of being in column rather than in sort of phalanx, so to speak.
They didn't necessarily do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
They did do the reforming after combats and things. So you pass a leadership check, you get to turn in whichever direction you want, kind of thing. So they didn't necessarily show any of that stuff off in the movement phase. There was some like skirmishing with some of the skeleton archers on horseback, but that was kind of like glossed over in terms of, we just moved them kind of thing. So,
Well, weirdly, because that's the part that I think will slow the game down the most.
Yeah.
Is the
reforming of the line.
Reforming into like a 3x5 to get extra pace, and then forming back into a 5x3 to get extra ranks for combat and blah blah blah. And a lot of people going, well, that's going to slow things, and that'd be the part I'd be most interested in seeing how it comes in gameplay wise.
Yeah. So whenever this drops, people are going to be looking at it going, is this similar to the formula for my old crack cocaine, or is it the new crack cocaine?
This one's blue. In addition,
you're goddamn right.
Yeah, in addition to the rulebook, there's also a couple of additional books that are going to be coming out. So these are in almost the same way as what they've done for the Horus Heresy. This looks to be where they're taking things for the old world now. So instead of there being, we'll get onto this. Instead of there being individual army books for specific factions, there's now just 2 books. Because obviously the launch factions aren't everything. There's the Dwarven Mountain Holds, Empire of Man, Kingdom of Bretonnia, Wood Elves, High Elves, Orcs and Goblins, Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, Brayherds, and the Tomb Kings of Khemri. They're split between good and evil, Forces of Fantasy and Ravening Hordes in these 2 books as you see here. These will have all of the rules for the factions I've just mentioned, and in effect, you don't need any other books to play these factions if you don't want to. You can have the main rulebook, whichever one of the books you want, and then you can just start playing games, especially if you've already got old armies sitting in boxes and everything like that. However, the bonus that they've added in, because obviously they want to sell more books, is that you can now get what's called arcane journals. So arcane journals act as additional information for both of your factions. These look to be soft cover, as you can see there, rather than hardcover, which is nice. And these give you additional special rules, history, lore, magical items, special characters.
So more like the army
scenarios.
books.
Yeah, it's kind of like an army book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're really specializing into this faction, here you go. Here's your little supplement.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like a codex supplement. Sounds familiar.
So yeah, you've got your main book, and then you've got your separate arcane journal, which will go into more detail about your faction, give you additional things, as well as like themed armies. So they talked about the fact that you can build armies in particular ways to get certain benefits or to fit within the lore that they're working on at the moment for the game and this sort of period of history within the Warhammer world. So, for example, the Kingdom of Bretonnia can have Bretonnian exiles and errantry crusades, and the Tomb Kings can have the Nekhaharan royal host or things like the mortuary cult and things. So you can sort of change things and twist the way that you build your army based on these books. So yeah,
interesting.
Yes,
I would think that's the way to go.
Yes,
yeah.
One and done. No need to mess around, and you don't have to worry about power creep in army books.
Yeah.
See, I do wonder, with it being forces of good and forces of evil, can you do a combo wombo depending on, we're evil, so we can all fight together?
I would imagine there will probably be some alliance rules in there. I don't know how in depth they're going to be, but we should see.
If they're working off prior editions, 25%, up to 25% can be allied.
Sounds about the kind of thing they do, probably, yeah. But yeah, so that was very much what was included in that kind of first burst of information. What we'll do is we'll move to the next link, the next sort of larger link, Jerry, because this kind of covers everything that else was covered. So this was when we actually got the announcement of the dates and everything. So as I said, tomorrow is going to be the big pre-orders. You'll be able to get all the stuff that we previously looked at in terms of like those box sets and the books and things from your friendly local gaming store like us. And also a couple of the different plastic kits. But the majority of everything else is going to come through direct only and Games Workshop stuff. So this was kind of them setting out their stall for everything else that's going to be coming out to support the Bretonnians and the Tomb Kings as these first launch factions in the game. So when you dive into the old world and you pick up your armies, obviously you get those army sets, as we said, but then you can take them that next step and you can pick up all this stuff. Now, as you can see, yes, these are the classic old school metal and plastic models that you will know and love, or hate.
I've never liked the fact they had the shields upside down.
It is weird.
I was going to ask, but I didn't want to sound stupid.
No.
So yes,
the figures themselves really nice.
Yeah, I got quite a few of those actually.
Yeah, but the fact that they held them upside down because they were peasants who'd stolen the shields of the dead off the battlefield or something ridiculous. It's like great, but surely they must have seen how the shields were held by the fellow who was dead, anyway. Or even the live fellows who they haven't looted yet. Anyway,
but yes, everything that was old is new again. So all of the old. So this is going to be, in the classic way, a combo wombo plastic metal kit. The riders will be metal, the horses will be plastic. And each of these new sets will come with the new base sizes. It should be stressed, if you're going to just be playing casual games, you do not need to rebase anything.
Sure. And I wouldn't.
What's the point? If you're going to be playing with your mates or whatever down the pub or down the club, you don't need to do the rebasing. It will be minimal in terms of the way that things affect the game and everything. If you're really worried about it, just put them into larger regiment trays. That's the easiest way to do it. Anyway.
Or glue a base to your current base.
Yeah. The other thing that is interesting about this is that they've said, and this was something that popped up in some sort of chatter online with some of the people who part of the design of this. Anything that came out that was previously a fine cast only miniature as part of the 8th edition is now going to be made in metal. So if you were like, oh my god, I really like that model that came out, but it was a fine cast model, don't worry, they're going to cast that in metal now.
I own one fine cast metal. Or model, rather. I bought Krell Lord of the Undead. It was one of the first fine cast released.
I love that model.
It was a gorgeous model. I hated it so much. I've never managed to get the axe straight. It never got painted. Never even got primer on it. If they release that metal, I'll be in like Flynn to get that Krell. Because quite frankly, Phil Cast was utter garbage.
Oh no, I
And it
remember
still
when it
is.
first came out and people were like finding random hairs in the packaging.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care about hairs. Yeah, hairs, pubes, whatever, go nuts. I just want a model that actually looks like a model
Jerry
when I
can
put on
clone
a...
you then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everything that was plastic before is coming out in plastic again. Anything that was fine cast will now be metal. And then there will be metal and plastic combo kits based on the old setup for things.
I remember that kit.
So yeah, the big Necrosphinx and everything is going to be coming out and all that kind of good stuff, which is nice to see. The other thing, and you will have seen it when we looked at the Bretonnians, and you'll see it as we look through some of the... So for example, that Lich Priest was a fine cast only model. That's now going to be cast in metal. There you go. Perfect.
So Workshop have finally accepted that Finecast was garbage.
Yes, pretty much. Going back to what I was saying as well. So you will have seen it with the Bretonnians, and you'll see it with the Tomb Kings here as well. There's all of the stuff that was available originally from Games Workshop. That's all going to be coming out. But then there will also be, as you can see here with that Tomb King, the Forge World resin releases as well. Although obviously they're not called Forge World anymore. It's just expert kits. So there we go. Because they've just combined everything together. So these expert kits, resin, Forge World resin, is going to be available from the Games Workshop web store as well. So you'll be able to pick these up and add them into your force. Obviously, they're going to be Forge World, so they'll probably be a little bit more expensive.
I'm just wondering how badly they're going to gouge us.
Yeah, we'll see.
But Forge World is the budget wing of GW these days.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just saying GW in general for this. I'm wondering how bad it's going to get.
Prices
those are interesting.
From the looks of it aren't actually that bad.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, so that's one of the Tomb Swarms that they've done, which is one of the new Forge World models they've been working on.
It's very different from the original Swarm,
yes.
which was about the height of a base again, so maybe 3 mil on top of a base.
So it was just a mound of scarabs.
It was just a mound of scarabs. Yeah,
so a little puddle.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we don't have Omar Gilly. Is that it? The Iranian?
Yes.
Yeah. We don't have him. He should be in there screaming.
Yeah. But yeah, so in addition to that, there's also a couple of extra things they've been talking about. So there's going to be your classic stuff. So you're going to be able to get card sets and dice, which will sell out basically immediately.
Don't even bother, kids.
Yeah. It's all
just
go
straight to eBay and just pay 50 quid for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's going to be two sets available for the Bretonnians and the Tomb Kings. There's already been leaks online of the Dwarven Mountain Holds one. So they're going to be doing them for the other factions as well. You can also buy this sort of core set, which again, I would imagine is going to sell out quite quickly, which comes with sort of non-specific dice, as you can see there, alongside cards for magic and magic items. Although I would imagine a lot of people will just be happy flicking into the book, really, or just using references that they've doodled on A4 paper or something. But yeah, they're there if you want to pick those up. When it comes to the sort of overall thing and the overall launch for Warhammer the Old World, it should be launching properly on the 20th of January. I would assume that's going to be great. There's going to be an event at Warhammer World and all that kind of stuff. So I'd imagine that'll be the time when everyone's going to get all of their orders delivered to them. They have said that a lot of the stuff that you see here is going to be stuff that will be there for a while. So fingers crossed they will actually deal with this pre-order period nicely and everyone will be able to get what they want. If you are not one of the factions covered in those books that we looked at earlier, the PDF army list for the other factions, so things like Skaven, Lizardmen, Vampire Counts, they're all going to be available as PDFs at the launch of the game. So if you're somebody who has an old army, like my friend has the Ogre Kingdoms, you're just going to be able to get that list for free. And if you have a friend like me who's already bought the rulebook, perfect, you're fine. You don't have to spend any money.
Says that. If you have the best army in Warhammer, you are shit out of luck. Because they're not giving you rules for Dogs of War.
No Dogs of War just yet.
No Dogs of War.
But yeah, that's pretty much. It was a fairly interesting set of releases, I think. As I say, I've watched the battle report. Thought it looked like it ran pretty well. The proof will be in the pudding when I actually get to the tabletop and actually start playing some games with my old dwarves. But we shall see. I'll be eager to see where they go with future box sets for the different factions as well as we move through. But yeah, there we go. The Old World. It's new again, and it's coming sooner than you thought.
Everything old is new again, huh? Dry on dead though. Jesus.
I can't wait.
Jerry's going to have an aneurysm if they do much more.
No, it's all right. I'll just move on with my life. Currently, there's a lot of Dogs of War pikemen being ranked up for Kings of War. It's fine. Leagues of Road Rail will do the Lord's own work, since I can't field them anywhere else. All right, off to the Pacific.
Yes. Yeah.
For some specific Flames of War things.
Yeah, so Battlefront and Gale Force 9 dropped their sort of coverage of what's coming out in 2024 across their various games, and I thought we should focus in on some tank-based awesomeness and also a little bit of island hopping at the same time for now. So the big thing that they announced for Flames of War is that they're going to be moving over to the Pacific for this year. There's going to be a new book, as you can see there, covering 1942, 1943, and this will be a great opportunity for you to dive in and start picking up new stuff for both the Japanese and the US. So if you're going to be running either of those two armies, that will have all the information for you there. So all updated and sort of fitting for this edition. There's also going to be a couple of army deals. So there's two. So there's the Japanese army deal, as you can see there, and then they've also done one for the US too. So if you're looking to play as them, you've got your sort of core forces ready and raring to go. And what's obviously quite nice about the whole sort of island hopping thing, lots of infantry. Oh, John is somewhere going, yay.
So they didn't have enough room for tanks.
Exactly, yes.
If put somebody in a tank and then drive forward, you've crossed the island.
Yeah. The other thing that was quite fun about this as well, though, is that they said they're also going to be covering the British Far Eastern forces as well. So if you're looking to play as the Brits and their allies,
Chindits, drink.
Yeah.
Not for the kids.
You're going to be able to pick up these as well. This is going to be another one of the army sets they're working on at the same time. So if you're not somebody who wants to play as the Japanese or the US, you have some options there on that front, which I think is quite nice.
Could do Wingate with eating his onions. I'll not talk about anything else he does. Just go and check out Melted Rain Shooter if you want to find out what Wingate did.
Another fun thing for regular Flames of War over in Normandy and stuff is that they're going to be doing 4 army deals as well, which contain sort of new and older models put together into box sets for you to pick up. All of these to commemorate D-Day and the anniversary of D-Day, which I think is 80 years.
80 years this year, yeah.
Bloody hell.
So there's going to be 4 army deals for you to pick up. There's 2 for the Germans, and then there is 1 for the Brits and 1 for the Americans as well.
Yeah.
So whichever beach you want to assault or forward action you want to do off the beaches, there are going to be 4 little sets for you to choose from on that front. Which I think is quite nice.
That's my standard Flames of War German army's Panzerlehr.
There you go.
So that was the tank demonstration company. This was going to be the standard for the Germans.
Right.
After 1944, this was how the military was going to be organized. So they had all of the equipment. They had all of the Panzerschrecks. I'll give you that. So whereas normally we get like maybe 1 as an add-on to an infantry platoon, they could take like 2 with their command section and then 1 with each of their standard units as well within it. So they have all the Panzerschrecks. Everybody's mounted in half track. And then they were also on a couple of beaches that were, and then they were on beaches that were supported by the SS as well, which I think maybe where they're aiming for with some of the other kits that are coming as well. Oh, look, Grille, my favorite.
Yeah, so you got the Panzerlehr and then the Panzer Division there.
That's a lot of artillery.
Skaboom boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Nice
interesting to see. Yeah,
and then the 2nd Armoured and 7th Armoured, I believe, as well. So yeah,
you've got enough Germans to shake a stick at.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Don't care about them. Look at them, great, sucky, absolutely sucky.
Yeah,
that's interesting though. British and Americans though.
Yeah,
you
few
two
Cromwells
can roll
mixed in there
with your Cromwells and Priests. They're a nice plastic kit these days as well.
Very nice.
That's
talking of
cute.
plastic. Another sort of fun thing that they threw into the mix for Team Yankee this time, so the Cold War gone hot, is that they're going to be working on plastic infantry for both the Soviets and the Americans. So they have gone back
Jay
and
is
forth.
happy.
Yeah.
Paint your Confederacy first.
No.
I will cut you.
So if you're looking at, well, apparently they've gone back and forth in terms of the design for these and making sure that they can pack enough onto the sprues and make it viable and everything. Plastic infantry for Team Yankee is going to be leading the way. You're going to get your Soviet infantry, as you can see there. There's a couple of different flavors in terms of sprues, so that'll all be nice to see how that comes together. The other big thing as well is that they did a little bit of a little sneaky preview of the renders for the Americans as well. So they're going to be working on them, which would be quite nice. So you've got lots of different things coming up on the Team Yankee front. They did also say, which I think was quite cool, watch this space when it comes to more plastics, because if they've done a good job on these and they do well and people pick them up, I would imagine we're going to be seeing a lot more of the other bits and pieces from different ranges for Flames of War and everything else getting upgraded with plastic kits in the future as well. So yes, nice.
I will
say,
yep.
Seeing RPGs these days makes me mildly nervous.
Right.
After the high-speed ballistics incident.
High-speed ballistics incident?
No, not worry about that.
Yeah, they were filming in high speed and...
But exploded in slow motion. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, really happy he's okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know him, so I don't care either way. The most interesting thing for me, though, is they're coming from Archon.
Interesting.
Now, the biggest problem Battlefront have had for some time is consistency of availability.
Yeah, supply chains.
Because it's been coming via China, Malaysia, Southeast Asia for a long time. So no Archon do really nice plastics these days, and their availability is spot on. So the fact that they've gone to them is a really nice, because hopefully this will help to stymie the I want but I can't get, which I know we've run into that a few times where people have been building forces. There was a great project where somebody was desperate to do IDF and couldn't get their hands on the infantry for love nor money, because they were having to be manufactured somewhere in Asia and then shipped to New Zealand, and then from there span out to the rest of the world. So,
if it's rolling in from Poland now, that's a good sign that we'll maybe see some major expansions this coming year.
Yeah. I hadn't realised that they'd buddied up with them. So yes, fancy smancy.
Yeah,
I'd like it.
So in addition to all of that awesome Flames of War and Team Yankee news, there was also a big announcement for Battlefront and Gale Force 9 when it comes to a new game. So the new game is going to be landing in April 2024. And if you're a fan of tanks, which I know a lot of us are, this one will be quite fun. So this is called Clash of Steel. It's a 15mm tank game that is set in a period of what-ifness. So World War II has ended early, but then it starts up again 3 or 4 years later.
That's why we can't have new things.
Yeah. It flared up again like a rash. So it ended in 1944 and restarted in 1948. That obviously means they can play around with lots of fun, interesting things when it comes to tank designs. This is going to be a full-on tank-based style battle game on the tabletop. There's going to be 2 sets at the launch around Operation Unthinkable, because obviously the unthinkable has happened. One of the sets will be Americans versus Soviets. I already know which side Shay has picked. And the second set will be British versus Germans. That will allow you to play around with more stuff as well on that front. Everything that you need to play will be contained within the box sets. You'll get your
How many do you get in the set?
I think it's like
just one.
Just
one mouse.
Only need one.
One mouse.
You will get play mats. You'll get all of your cards, everything else. It's based on the core rules of Flames of War, but obviously with a few tweaks in here and there. One of the things they did stress is that obviously some tanks are better than others. Nothing is made equal in the armored world. And they have tried to make it so that the game is flexible for all different factions, depending on which one you want to play as. And so there's this really nice stuff in there in terms of the way that objectives are done. They're kind of done on a turn-by-turn basis, so things will change. And there's lots of randomness in there as well, so you have to think on the fly and things. So it'll be fun to see how this works, according to what they've been talking about. It's very quick, fun, and easy to play. Might be quite nice for those people who want to play around with more tanks. Don't want to necessarily mess around with having to have big full battlefields made up for regular games of Flames of War and that kind of stuff. So yeah, this one's going to be coming out in April. And it's going to be expanding throughout the year as well, with additional sets and sort of add-on packs and everything as well. So yeah, if you're interested in more tank action, you're pretty much covered. with both Clash of Steel and World of Tanks. So depending on which kind of rules and mechanics you like, you can go where you like.
Just going to say it now, don't let me and John play this one against each other after the last time we were on camera with Phil Yates. And it was meant to be a speedy game, and it was us just dancing and shooting at each other for a half hour.
Shocking.
Well, you never know. You never know.
2-1 advantage on the Soviet front there, Shay. That's not enough, is it?
No, it's not. Not against American armor. No.
Oh, yeah.
There's 2 of them, Jerry. There's one at the back.
There's 2 Taurus and 2. I'm pretty sure there's Super Pershings.
Yeah, they are Super Pershings.
Well, I mean, the Americans only get 6. So.
Can't count, there's 7 there.
Clearly, a lot of those are just targets, and everything else is for you to maneuver around to get shots at the rear. That's the
it's a beautiful dream.
They're probably very speedy shape.
These things will be doing donuts, and while you're trying to shoot them, they'll just be leathering the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Pop 1, pop 2, pop 3.
Be interesting to see then. So a stripped down tank version of Flames of War then.
Yeah, with some fun new mechanics and everything thrown in there as well. Should be fun.
Fancy smancy. Okay. Yeah, I see where that's going. Right, we have a final bit of news.
We do, yes.
All about the dystopian-ness, which isn't just what 2023 was.
Are we on the land, the air, or the sea, or all 3?
Sticking to the sea for now, but with a little bit of land thrown in for good measure.
Just a little bit of sand.
Just a little bit of sand.
Sprinkle it on for
a little bit of beach time. So yes, if you want to be beach body ready with your armor for January 2024, which would be a terrible time to go to the beach, especially in the UK. But yes, actually, it does depend where you are in the world. There's a whole host of new options coming up for pre-order for this month, alongside a whole bunch of other bits and pieces as well. So starting with Dystopian Wars, we've got a couple of new things. There's the new Ganges Battle Fleet set, which I know a lot of people have been very excited for. Comes with a new resin and plastic kit, as you can see there. Plenty of guns, lots of nice options. There's even a few fun little bits and pieces in there in terms of little tokens and everything as well, which I think is quite nice. But a good way for people to start taking things in different directions. The Ganges Battle Cruiser itself is a pretty immense piece of kit. You also get those little platforms as well, so you can create some defensive positions on the board, which is always.
They look like they should lock into some of the rigging stuff that we saw last year.
Yeah, very cool. The second of the sets is one for those people who maybe picked up Fortune and Glory. If you want to take your next steps, there's a new set called Beyond Fortune and Glory, which sort of takes things on a step and sort of expands your armies in different ways. This comes with a couple of the John Henry Vitruvian Colossus, as you can see there, or Colossi. You also get the Akron Sentry Rotors, the Cheyenne Hunter Submarines, the Farpoint Sentry Platforms, and then a few more bits and pieces in terms of terrain, as you can see there, and then the Iskander Cruisers too. So lots of fun little options for you to play around with that on that front, for both the Union and the Sultanate, which is always good to see. Have some fun there.
The Leroy Jenkins.
You also get your rule books and dice and everything in there too. So if you're one of those people who maybe split the box with a friend initially, and sort of they got the rule book and all the other bits and pieces, this will give you all the additional gubbins you need to sort of take things on and level and have your own set of stuff, which is always good to see.
Very fancy.
My favorite of the releases are these. So these are the Order Colossus. They are wild. I have always liked the Colossus and the automata that the folks at Warcradle do for Dystopian Wars, and I think these are like on another level. You can make these as the Chaska Vitruvian Colossus or the Quailor class, as you can see there. And yes, that one of them does wail as it lands next to your ship and bursts the eardrums of all your crew and destroys your boat.
Well, they knew the risks.
There's a very awesome clockwork golem design to them, which I think is really good to see. And it sort of sets them apart from some of the other Colossus that we've seen for the other factions, as you would have seen in the image above, actually. And there's almost like a kind of a Dishonored vibe to them, which I think is really cool. If you've ever played that game with that kind of steampunk aesthetic and stuff. These are really nice.
I've never even heard of it. But I do like the look of these. Who do these belong to then? Because they have the
Order was a faction from the old game that was like a secret society, quite religious. So it's interesting to see them finally start to make a bit more of a move onto the table, show a bit more presence.
Do they belong to a specific nation then, or are they completely separate?
I can't remember actually.
Well, the faction of the Order is like spread around the entire world from the old lore. I don't know if it's still current, but they were basically within every society, sort of like machinations from the shadows kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I couldn't necessarily remember if they mentioned anything specific in the flavor text for these, but if I find out, I will let you know in the comments. But,
okie dokie.
There was also a new airship as well. So this is one for the Imperium. This is a Maximilian aerial line breaker. And as per the sort of lore and the text behind these, I think it was quite funny. They were saying, yes. So a lot of the time they'll see these airships floating towards them and all the ship crews will be like, that's fine. It's just a big balloon. I'll pop that. This thing is heavily armed and armored and will blow everything out of the water with those big
shield
cannons,
generators.
you can see. So yes. And shield generators and the bombard cannons as well, as you can see there, for blowing your ships to smithereens. So it should be nice if you're sort of taken to the air.
Shoots into the backflip.
Yeah. So we've done a little bit of sea, we've done a little bit of air. But talking of the land, the previously previewed Dystopian Industrial set, which we saw towards the tail end of last year, is available for you to pick up this month from Warcradle Scenics. This is a heavily modular kit, as we discussed in the past. Comes with loads of different bits and pieces in plastic for you to build various buildings. You could build a couple of very big ones. You could build lots of smaller buildings if you like. You can make them as industrial as you want. You could turn them into factories. You could have them as residential units if you wanted to instead. There's all the little plug and play little bits on there that you can see to make them, to add sort of modular elements. So you could have cranes, you could have guns on those. You could look at some of the stuff from the platform sets and bring them into the fold as well, which I think is quite nice. So whichever way you wanted to take these, I think they're pretty good for building fun terrain. They should work for anything kind of 6 to 15 mil, more or less, if you wanted to use those in the tabletop. So even if you're not going to be playing Dystopian Wars with these, very good for the likes of Legions Imperialis or Drop Zone Commander, and maybe even a little bit of
spectrum dominance.
Full spectrum dominance as well.
Would you run these Battletech maybe, Shay?
Yeah, they were Battletech.
So yeah, good stuff
Put
there.
some anti-aircraft on top of the roofs.
Exactly. Yeah.
You pretend to be Moscow.
And obviously, this has all been designed to work around Armed Clash, which is going to be releasing later this year from Warcradle. So if you're looking for that to set up some tabletops ahead of that ground-based game, then maybe pick some of these up and start building your tabletops sooner rather than later.
It's big as a tape measure.
Yes.
I like that. That's really nice. I do like this.
Yeah.
And I built some of these.
Yeah.
And I can't remember
how annoying the tiny engine pods were.
I can't remember the bank of
oh no, that was definitely
batteries.
on there.
Was it?
Yeah, definitely that was on there. And then your rocket racks on the underside can also be swapped out for fighter launchers.
There you go.
Your SRS tokens.
I must be
Lots
growing
of fun
old.
ways to go.
Well, I am growing old. Clearly my mind's gone because I can't remember those at all. But anyway, that's a funky bit of stuff. I'm sure John will be interested in that. I know he's currently trying to work on the biggest Imperium force the world has ever seen for reasons best known to himself. He's got some targets to shoot at. People should have a look at the upcoming 3 Colors apps to see what he's going to be shooting at.
He got handed a leaflet. I think there's something in the ideology that just calls to him.
Could be that. Could be that. There you go. Dystopian Wars. A whole bunch of fun coming from Business Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
God bless him. And long may he keep paying me. Long may he keep paying me. Right. We shall have a quick swish. And when we come back, we'll round out the show with some Kickstarters.
Did you win one of our prizes? Find out on our prize claim center over at OnTableTop.com. Here we list all our previous prizes and those who have won. If you see your username, fill out the form to claim your prize. All prizes must be claimed within 30 days.
All right, we're back. We've a couple of Kickstarters to see us into the first weekend of 2024.
Yay.
Something to put all your Christmas money into.
Yeah.
And we're kicking off with something very old worldy.
Yes, very much so. Both these Kickstarters, a lot of people will be very happy to hear, are physical. They're physical rewards. You will actually get things in your hand, not numbers.
Jerry's doing his happy dance.
Physical.
So yes,
let me hear your body talk.
The first one of these is from Avatars of War. and their physical forge. They have been working with a company to produce a range of new CO cast, but as they call them, CO hard miniatures for using on tabletops. And this is the Orc Warriors Regiment. Anyone who's seen the stuff from Avatars of War in the past, from Felix, will know that they do amazingly detailed plastic models, and also they do really nice 3D sculpts and everything else in between. This is to get the tooling and everything and the production together to build this modular set of Orc Warriors for you to use when building the core of any Orcs and Goblins force on the tabletop. And since Felix has done work for Games Workshop in the past and has been working on Avatars of War for a really long time, you'll notice that a lot of the stuff that he does is very in tune with that old world aesthetic, so it'll work very, very well with all those new armies that you're going to be building on the tabletop. The modular set comes with loads of different bits and pieces in terms of bodies, legs, hands, heads, everything else in between, including weapons. You'll be able to build units with hand weapons and shields, with spears and shields, or you can have them with 2-hand weapons if you prefer and you want to go ham on the attacks. All of these can be mixed and matched as you see fit, and you can build them as part of a couple of different options. So you can either go with a unit of 8, a unit of 16, 24, or 32, so you can build up larger forces if you want to. As I say, it's all done with this new CO hard material that they've been working with, and also this other company, where you'll be able to sort of get really nice models on the tabletop in a quicker fashion, as it were, as opposed to previous stuff. And also, it's probably a little bit cheaper for them as well, I would imagine.
I've got that model.
Yeah.
It's his Metal Orc Warlord that he does. Yeah.
I mean, this is how orcs should look. Scrap iron armor and weapons. I'm happy.
Weapons that have taken a beating. Exactly, yes. And as I say, just a pretty fun, cool set of models for you to build the sort of basics of your army. You got your standard bearers, you got your musicians, you got your champions, and then you've got all the other orcs that you can arm with whichever weapons you like for skirmish games, for mass battle games, and everything else in between. It all fits, as I said, with the aesthetic of the other stuff from Avatars of War. So if you'd like some of the other things they do, like their heroes, you can even pick some of them up as part of this campaign, which is quite nice.
That's handy. Do a really nice wizard.
They do, yeah. And lots of really nice stuff, as you can see there, that breaks down very well for people who want to do kit bashing with other stuff as well out there, which is all good.
I always love the variation they cook into these, because it looks properly like ramshackle and just varied.
Yes. And as you can see there, they will also provide you with appropriate basing for your models.
Jerry, look, a miniature's natural habitat, the square base.
Yeah, you can have them on the correct base, or you can have 30 by 30.
Stretch goals have added more options, as you can see there, which is always nice to see. Fancy. And then the add-ons basically just include lots of hero models. So you've got the big bad Orc Warlord, which is really cool. And you can get a 75mm version, which is just great.
No,
the version of Mark comes to the tabletop.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Games Workshop attempted to do Warcraft and failed?
Yes.
With Warhammer Online?
Yeah.
They had an Orc Warlord who looked not dissimilar to that. It was just a slab of lead with a massive axe.
Yeah.
Oh my Christ.
Whoa.
Yes.
Donkey boy.
Project and a half.
That looks like it would be hella fun to paint up.
Yeah. You two will spin. Spin for me. Spin for the sheer joy of spinning.
Oh, look at that spin.
That's detail quality looks spot on.
Yeah.
It's got a racist elf skull on the back there as well, which is really nice.
Just for good measure, just to make sure that Jerry does
it's the best way.
Like this. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, you can pick up some of the other classic heroes as well from their range and other stuff as well, which I think is quite nice. So yeah,
very much sold on this.
Battle standard bearer.
Yeah, I love the negative space skull they've put into it.
You two can have this as your BSB, but only in this campaign. There he is.
Yeah,
he's nice. Where's? I don't care. Where's the wizard? Is the wizard not in there? That's an outrage. He's so good.
You have to go to the actual web store and buy it.
And Jerry's 2024 was ruined.
Not ruined for me. I've got one. I can't see where it is, but it's a really nice orc shaman. I'm surprised that he's not available as a thing. Maybe they've just decided to go with specifically BD type characters for this.
I don't think I've ever sat on a show, Jerry, where there's like an older miniature that you don't have.
30 euro for, what's that? A heroic set.
Yeah.
That's 8, is it?
Yeah, so then it goes up depending on the number of them you get added to the set. So But yeah, as a sort of bespoke little set of models, I think it's pretty fun to sort of drop in.
24 for €70. You know,
£61.
It's on the cusp there. If you like your orcs, fill your boots, I suppose, is the way to go on that one.
Yeah. I will say, if you do like the look of that stuff, don't forget that Avatars of War do plastic models as well. Regiment sets. They do pop up every so often for you to play around with.
I mean, the best set they ever did was the old dwarf set. It was just spot on, except for the big Standardbearer who could never stand.
The Dwarf Seeker with the massively oversized battle Standardbearer. Yeah.
That's fine.
But,
if you want to see nice, they did their Chaos version.
They did.
The Warriors of Pestilence and Warriors of Destruction. They did those in a form of PVC, but before they did that, they did them in pure resin. The detail on those were spectacular. I have so many of those.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I really hope that with the old world coming back, we'll see Felix maybe look at bringing some of this stuff back so we can see those old models come back for people to build their armies and things. That would be really
I mean, with it landing, I fully expect to see massive amounts of alternate sculpts that are just going to be so good with the way the sculptors are these days.
Yeah.
Fancy stuff. Right. Cool. Okie dokie. There is 11 days left. They are funded. So if you fancy getting yourself some legendary Norks, then you can jump in on that one. However, we've got some foes.
You can't have orcs and goblins without dwarves to fight them, of course.
That's it.
Ben's ex-girlfriend faction.
And these are by MOMminiaturas, who are, well, they're amazing. They've done really good stuff in the past. I have some of their models already. I have their Gotrek and Felix, which are wonderful, alongside one of their Orc Warlords, funnily enough. I'm thinking about last Kickstarter. But this is their set that they've been teasing for the last little while. This is the Dwarven Rangers of Rillon, and it is a set of resin models for you to build up a huge forest dwarf army that may or may not have a slight nudge towards the gnomish, perhaps.
Oh my god! Why have we not got Lloyd on the show? Why have we done a big-headed army without Lloyd?
Exactly. Yes.
How annoyed will he be when he discovers that a company is actually selling big-headed things?
Big-headed gnomes.
He'll be in like Flynn.
Yeah. So this Kickstarter is all focused around the idea of bringing these to life in physical fashion, in resin. You can either go for a smaller force, which is the one you see there, which comes with all of your sort of core infantry. You get your bowmen, you get your spearmen, you get all your sort of basic standard warriors. You could easily slot these in, obviously, with regular dwarf armies that are out there in the world. But if you wanted to go down a different route when it comes to the aesthetic, then this is obviously a really nice way to do that. As you go up in terms of start sets, more things are added to the army. So you get more elite units. You get like the hunters, which are representative of slayers. You get the chariot there, which I think is really nice. Moving up to the next one as well, you've got things like big tree men that you could use as war golems if you're going to be building a dwarven army on the tabletop. I know war golems were never something that was really shown off in Warhammer, even though they were mentioned in the books, in the old Time of Legend books. They did have dwarven golems. But
that's
all right. To fight the War of the Beard. No, not the War of the Beard. The War of Vengeance. That's the
War of Vengeance. And you quite happily ramp them in there as Kings of War dwarves, and then at that point you just use them as stone elementals.
Yeah, and the cavalry that you saw at the back there in that little image, they could be used as your sort of Brock riders, I suppose, if you're going to be building a Kings of War army.
Good, or Oathmark as well.
Or Oathmark as well, yeah,
work.
very true.
Oh, they'd be very good for Oathmark.
But MOMminiaturas do really, really good stuff. Their miniatures range is wonderful. If you are interested in buying individual models, maybe for games like Mordheim and stuff, their website is a treasure trove for that kind of thing. They do some stunning Empire adjacent models, dwarves, orcs, chaos cultists, and everything else in between. They've recently been doing Patreon stuff, so you'll be able to pick up things in the digital realm as well if you like. But I think this is a really nice way for people to sort of maybe dive in and start themselves a new resin army of dwarves to use in something like the Old World, or perhaps something else, as we were saying, like Kings of War or Oathmark. Really good.
I imagine them slowing down 9th Age as well.
Oh, yeah.
Quite happily.
Yeah, easily. Fox Archers. Why not?
Different. Yeah. Makes sense, though.
I like
for
it.
Your first dwarves.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Foxy, Stouty.
Why are they not riding giant squirrels?
Six can't be one bear. So they'd be up a tree and the dwarves all just fall out of them on their heads. Oh, I like the heavy cav is your bears. So you've got your light cav foxes, heavy cav bears.
Yeah.
On you go.
The oak skins, your sort of Slayer types and stuff, like all your Iron Warriors.
Iron Warriors,
yeah.
Although I would paint the armor as timber.
Yes, obviously. Yeah, you'd have to go down that route.
There
Shepherds
we go.
There. Very nice. I love those kind of like big bumbly faces. Pretty cute.
Yes, right, slap bang in the middle of the bodies.
Yeah.
I will say there's about a week left on this campaign. It's not quite funded, but if it does get to the funding level and they start to unlock more stuff, you'll get things like the leader character and stuff there that they'd previously shown off, added to your pledges, which I think is quite nice. So
very cool.
Get in there and help out MOMminiaturas. Get them to that.
I like the Rangers with the feathers in their hat.
Yes.
It's like Edelweiss.
Yes.
they're a bit Alpine-esque.
Yeah.
But every morning you greet me.
Yeah. Doing a bit of yodeling as well as they go. But yeah. Very cool,
that.
as you can imagine.
You too can get a rock to the head from a tree man. That'll teach you. Come in here, cutting stuff down. Filthy racist elves.
I wish someone would convert that so it's just the dwarf that annoyed him.
I'm sure that's probably not far away.
You're one way to win an argument.
Yeah. Right, there is 7 days left for the Dwarven Rangers of Rillon. Throw your money at it. Get it funded. Go on, you good thing. Yeah. Ben will be happy.
Oh, I should point as well. You don't have to just buy the starter sets. You can put in a sort of custom pledge, and you can just get whatever you want. So it's great.
Definitely sounds like a thing that would happen. Yeah. Okay. Right. I think that's us done for the first one of 2024. Christ on a bike. Let's hope this improves over the next year. Right. We shall return on Sunday for our XLBS for the Cult of Games members over on tabletop.com. If you're not already a cultist, you can join us for a 30-day trial. How weird is that? We'll just be wettering utter garbage about people's projects and our own stuff as well. We're very laissez-faire on the Sunday morning. I don't like too many strip strands or actual things to deal with. So come and join us. It's very mellow. Otherwise, you can come back next Friday where we'll have a better clue of what's going on and I may not be coughing like a dog. Time will tell. Until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.